Hey, what's up? It's Phoenix. I'm super stoked because today I'm going to talk about music. I've got my Pink Floyd gear / memorabilia, which I'm super stoked about. I love Pink Floyd. They're one of my favorites. And even though I'm a metalhead, I like all kinds of music. So yeah, always shout out to Pink Floyd, one of the legends. Now, I want to be upfront and honest about my situation as a musician, which is that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, such as when I was in college, I didn't think I would be able to do music. I tried to do music in college and it didn't work, I think because I wasn't ready. I didn't know how to be receptive to the things that they were all doing and teaching. But there's a way in which I thought that I couldn't do music at all. Because even though I was writing lyrics, I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to do music. And it was kind of depressing actually, because I really wanted to do music. I loved all kinds of music. I loved listening to music growing up. You know, I loved Linkin Park, for instance, growing up to their album Meteora, and how influential that has been. One of the first, I would say, heavy metal albums that I listened to. And at least then, you know, with Avenged Sevenfold, Slipknot, Korn, for example, I wanted to be a musician. But I just couldn't get it to work, no matter how many lyrics I wrote, no matter how much feedback I tried to get. And there came a point where I realized that I probably was never going to be able to do music. But then there was a day where I was having a really hard time, and I was like, you know what? I need to do music. I need to figure this out. I've been putting it off for too long. So, interestingly enough, I tried to learn how to metal scream, because that's what was appealing to me at the time, with bands like Between the Buried and Me. And I was really enjoying listening to these bands have such a great vocal style, and I wanted to learn that. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to learn it due to the intensity of what it takes to metal scream. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not done. I still could do guitar. So I picked up guitar and I fell in love with it. It's interesting because I played guitar when I was younger, but it was mostly acoustic. I didn't really know anything about electric, but since I figured out how much the electric guitar influences metal music, I figured that that would be an appropriate place to try to find my voice as a metal musician. And so I picked up the guitar, started taking lessons, and haven't looked back since. And I would say since at least 2018, 2019, I've really been taking music seriously. And I would say that I'm very excited because I am doing music. Not only do I have songs that I'm working on and albums that I'm working on, I also already have a mixtape, my SPARX mixtape, SPARX of which is my musical project. I already have that, and I have my mixtape out with 5 songs. And I'd actually like to discuss those songs today. So I'm super stoked. Now, I would say that my music, as a consequence, with me figuring out how to write the songs, how to incorporate drums, bass, and other instruments such as the keyboard, and working on my vocals as well as lyric writing, it's a situation where guitar is probably what I've spent the most time doing, though, because it was the most accessible to me, even as I still find guitar, especially metal guitar, to be very difficult. But it's interesting because my music is very guitar driven. In fact, I have an 8-string guitar which I use on writing some of my songs, especially on my concept album, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's very guitar driven, and that's partly intentional, partly because I see metal as being guitar driven in a lot of ways, but also because it's the instrument that I was most able to resonate with and that I really enjoy. I think drums are cool, even though I've never actually played at a drum kit. I think that bass would be fun, and I actually would like to explore that sometime in the future. I love the keyboard, but I feel as though I'm not very proficient at it right now, at least to where I want to be, and I'm still working on vocals. But with that said, I feel as though guitar is what I've really poured my soul into, and the guitar is what helps me write the songs. So I think that that's definitely an incredibly fun process to have. So I want to talk a little bit about my mixtape, which is what this video is really about. My SPARX mixtape. And the mixtape is an idea that doesn't seem to have as much relevance nowadays in the age of streaming, But it seems to me as though I like the idea of using an anachronistic, even antiquated term to describe music, because now everything's online. And especially with all the iterations of technology, music is not done the same way that it was even 30 or 40 years ago. But I love the idea of the mixtape because to me it represents this idea of creating something. And even though my mixtape is technically a playlist, I look at it as something that I'm still swapping with people. You could say I'm swapping with people that I meet on the internet. I'm swapping this mixtape of 5 songs. And I love that idea. I think it's super fun being able to do that. And it gives me a lot of hope for my musical project. And yeah, and I'm really excited about that. So that's why the very first project that I wanted to release is my mixtape, which I wanted to do because it features a variety of songs from different projects that I've been working on, different albums even, and I wanted there to be a little bit of a range. And even though 5 songs isn't as much of a range as I would like to have at this point, it's still definitely a good place to start because I feel like I'm just getting started and I love that excitement and possibility of getting going. And so I think the mixtape is actually a great place to start because it's starting to showcase some of my songwriting abilities. Now, I would say that you might be curious about what my project actually is. And there's first the mixtape, but I'm actually working on 3 projects right now. I have my EP, which I've talked about a little bit, but I have my EP, and that's called My Words Are Homeless. And 2 of the songs from that EP I've actually already posted on my mixtape, and that includes my song Bled, which I really enjoyed writing and producing, as well as my song Persist. And the thing about My Words Are Homeless is that it came from a really tough time when my apartment got broken into and everything was stolen, including my guitars and manuscripts from my books on my flash drives. And yeah, and I didn't know what to do. And so I sat down and composed the album actually on acoustic guitar because that was all that I had at the time. And so here I was trying to figure out what to do and not really knowing what I was even going to do. And so even though Bled I'd already written before the break-in, the song Persist and the other songs that I haven't released yet on the EP, but which I hope to soon, were definitely a part of that process of writing on acoustic. And I really had to go back to the basics. I had to go to my roots and really deal with that raw emotion. And that to me is what music is about. So that is definitely important. Now, there's another song that I put on my mixtape called Sanctuary. And Sanctuary is a song from a project that I have projected called Theories. And Theories is a project of songs that I've been writing throughout the years that I'm producing and that I'm recording and writing and making. And I love being able to do that. And so Sanctuary is very much guitar driven, as you'll realize when you hear it, because it's very much this kind of guitar driven piece where the guitar seems to carry the piece. It's actually an instrumental song, and I actually was encouraged to do instrumental tracks because of the encouragement of focusing not just on language and words, which is my forte because that's what I absolutely love, but focusing on the nonverbal elements of art, in this case of music. And so Sanctuary, I feel like, has a little bit of a classical feel to it, as well as a kind of old-fashioned metal feel as well, which I actually really like. And in case you didn't know, I love metal. I love music in general. I love all types of music, but for whatever reason, metal, at least starting from roughly the 90s and on, has really influenced me in a positive way, starting with bands like Tool, and then moving forward into bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Slipknot and nu metal, moving up to the 2010s and now halfway through the 2020s. All the music that's come from like Sleep Token, Tesseract, and a variety of different bands. And so I love metal, and so as you can imagine, metal is a very big component of what I'm doing when I'm writing my songs. And I think that that's important to acknowledge because while there is a lot of gatekeeping in metal and why people are definitely judgmental about what they call metal, I would say that I have grown up on bands like Metallica and Anthrax and hair metal even, including like Motley Crue and bands like Poison. And I've definitely been interested in a lot of different styles of metal, and it definitely influences me. So definitely listen to Sanctuary, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it gives you a taste of kind of what I'm interested in and kind of the sound I'm going for. Now, I'm really excited because not only am I working on my EP as well as Theories, but I'm also working on a concept album, which of course is inspired by Pink Floyd, and is a concept album called Simulate Worlds, which on my mixtape I already have 2 of the songs on there. I have the song The Philosopher, and then I have the instrumental version of my song Simulacrum. And the reason why it's so fun to be able to have these songs is because I've been working really hard on this concept album, and it's nice to be able to showcase what I've been working on. And I just want to say I'm really excited about it. Now, you might be wondering, what is my music really about? And I don't want to spoil it for you. I hope that you'll check out the songs. But I do want to say that it's the best of what I get out of metal, which is the emotion, the intense, sheer, visceral, sonic emotion that you get, the quality of it, as well as art itself, which is the meaning and purpose that I get from being able to utilize my skills as a songwriter and as an artist. I want to inspire people. Sometimes I think inspiration can clash with feelings of anger or other strong emotions, but it seems to me as though that is the clash that has been a part of my project, which is definitely exploring this world of music. This clash between very strong emotions and the beauty that you find in art. And that's what I want to do. When I listen to classical music, everything from Beethoven and Mozart to Stravinsky and modern composers, I can't help but feel as though I am a part of this tradition of inspiration. And that when I listen to these bands and when I listen to music in general, I feel this very rich world that I am a part of. And it definitely means the world to me. So I'll be honest, I'm really excited about my mixtape and for what's to come. I can't wait to show more of my music, and I want to keep some of the surprises under wraps, but definitely keep a lookout. I hope you'll check out the songs that I have so far, and I'll probably be adding to the mixtape as well as creating other musical and listening experiences, but I'm really excited about it, and I think that it truly is something that I'm really proud of and something that I'm very excited that I've been able to do. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to be able to be a musician. I didn't think it was possible. But after exploring the tools that I had and trying to improve my skill set and repertoire, I realized that I could do this. And so it definitely is part of the inspiration that I try to encourage. If you have something you want to say, something you want to express, something you want to do, I definitely encourage you to do that. I definitely encourage you to be who you are and to explore those things. So yeah, I'm Phoenix. I'm really excited about these projects. And I do incorporate some of the themes that I've been thinking about in my own writing and in the other art that I do, the things that I talk about on YouTube. And I'm just really hopeful that you'll check out my music. So yeah, thank you for listening. And there is one more thing I wanted to say too before I forget. You might be wondering where SPARX came from. Well, I wanted to make the name unique, so I changed the KS to an X, and that's because I wanted to let that stand out. But of course it's in relation to a phoenix, a firebird. I didn't want to just call myself Phoenix as a solo artist, and I went through a whole bunch of names of possible names that I could do, and the phoenix metaphor kept coming back, and SPARX turned out to be perfect for it. So SPARX is going to be my musical project moving forward. I know that I'm definitely not in a band, but I hope that I'll be able to incorporate different elements throughout working on this project. And who knows, I might be able to collaborate with other musicians, and I might be able to have some kind of band. But for now, I'm doing this on my own, on my iPad, with my musical instruments, and I'm really excited about it. So I hope you find it inspiring. So yeah, I'm Phoenix. Thank you for watching. I hope that you'll check out my other videos. Like, subscribe, share, and I hope that you'll check out my books. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon.